Oriana is what I've seen Bright Noah play every game so far.
Hmm.
He's been very successful on that, and I haven't seen him play anything else. Another factor is that Oriana is actually one of the few mid laners who actually does very, very well against Ziggs.
Hmm.
So we'll have to see where that goes. Jinx being picked up, probably going to be denied from Iron Quantity. Played a pretty decent Jinx last game.
Hmm.
We've seen him play the Tristana as well, so we'll see what happens there. But already two very strong pickups right now for Goons Incorporated.
Yeah, so that Ziggs is locked in, and I'm excited to see the Ziggs because we don't see too many of them in general. So it's gonna be exciting to see if they can hit those death bombs right there. And Jinx is always fun to see. All the more globals, the better, because I love seeing people just so low and they think they're safe, and then they just get caught up by like a missile or a bomb, and it's almost like a face palm. You can see the player face palming on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, and also one of the interesting things about Ziggs is there's so many different ways to build him. I mean, personally, against a squishier team composition with less tanks, you could build out Athenes into your Rabadons into your Void Staff, or you can actually build Leandries into Rylai's, and you can actually just shred tanks, and you can zone so much, and you actually do a lot of damage because of your E and your bouncy bombs slow, and they proc the double burn from Rylai's, so very, very strong, lots of AoE damage, lots of AoE burning, and we see the Wukong actually locked in, so I'm not sure if that'll be Wukong top or Wukong in the jungle.
Hmm. Yeah, Leona is known for the jungle pick, but they might just be grabbing that as a placekeeper for Hill of Shovel up there. Actually, I think Hill of Shovel does play Wukong, so I'm willing to bet that Hill of Shovel will be playing that champion, but it could go both ways. If something were to come up with, depending on these next two picks from Goons Incorporated, they might switch it up. Maybe they'll put the Wukong in the jungle.
Yeah, and right now the Shen pickup for Goons Incorporated would be very good against a possible Wukong in the top lane because Ben has very good trading with AD, especially ones that are relying on auto attacks like Wukong is until level 6. And then Elise is also a very strong jungler, lots of presence in the jungle. She can make good ganks. We saw Shaka the Zulu play Elisa earlier, and she had some great counter ganks, and we actually gave her my MVP for the game that I saw Shaka play on Elise. So very good, talented Elise player, and I'm looking forward to see what Dave Ward is going to pick up here to combat that.
Yeah, so it looks like they have almost 3 global ultimates on Goons Incorporated with the bomb, the Super Mega Death Rocket, and also Stand United. So definitely, there's got to be Day Wards are going to need to be on their tippy toes and watch out for those globals because don't want to get any kills or assists to those.
And we are seeing the Zac hovered over, so it's possible that they could pick up that Zac, and it could be a Wukong in the jungle. So I'm not exactly sure. They look like they're just like fooling around with the champions, and they're just hitting random or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, Zyra especially, like we spoke that, towards the end of the season, the last season, Zyra was picked almost every game, if not banned out, because I mean it started a lot with Cloud9 doing the Ashe and Zyra combination, but even before that, Zyra was such a strong support. But in this season, I mean, so far since the patch changes, we've been seeing very little Zyras. Why do you believe that is?
Well, Zyra did get nerfed fairly hard. She got a lot of base damages reduced on her kit, which would really allow her early game to zone. I remember I used to play a lot of Zyra support. Actually, she has like one of my highest win-loss ratios in ranked. Actually, she was my go-to with support because you could actually zone and 1v2 their bot lane, and also a lot of champions like Thresh and Leona really popular right now, and they can kind of all in Zyra. Like Leona can all in Zyra, even if she does get rooted, she gets rooted at the end of her Zenith Blade. So she can. Zyra is fairly squishy. It's fairly easy to get to her right now, especially with all the tanky champions that are being played in the bot lane. So she's kind of like fallen out of place because she lost some of her damage, and she can get insta-gamed pretty early with the amount of burst potential in the bot lane right now.
I see, and it does look like Goons Incorporated kind of round out with that last pick, Nami there. So Nami Jinx, not a bad synergy right there, and pretty good if you can land your Aqua Prisons. I found playing Nami. Nami's probably one of my most played champions in ranked as well, and have a pretty good win percentage with her. Just If you're on point with those Aqua Prisons, they can. It's one of the clutchest non-ultimate cooldowns you can use, just because of the fact you can knock up anyone that's in that AOE. So if you happen to land that, it can often change the tide of the fight really by itself.
Yeah, if I remember the last game we watched, Goons Incorporated play, they actually ran a very similar team composition. I think the only difference was actually they did not run the Shen. The top lane, I believe they ran something different in top lane. I'm not 100% sure. But they had the Nami I know they had the Nami Elise and Jinx for sure, and I know they had the Ziggs as well. So they've used this team composition before, and the Jinx Nami is they had Lucy and Nami before. So I think Jinx is the different one. But you can put the Flame Choppers underneath their feet when they're in the bubble, and they're like stunned for a good like 3 or 4 seconds, and they can't really do anything. And you can hit them with the zap. You can Q them with your long range missiles as Jinx. So just so much potential to burst someone out. And someone like Tristana early game can get zoned very, very easily. So I'm looking to see how this works out.
Yeah, so just looking at Goons Incorporated, they have a lot of lockdowns with the Flame Choppers, the Cocoons, the Aqua Prisons, the Shadow Dash taunt. They can really pin out 1 or 2 guys in these fights and take them out. But Day Wards, they have really strong, sustained damage over time. Wukong, one of the strongest duelists. His armor penetration, his stats really scale well into the late game with his items. So he's, if you don't do anything to a Wukong in a team fight, he'll just wreak havoc on you. Aside from the Cyclone knockup.
Yeah, and they actually have a very strong team composition here. They have a lot of continued knockup. They have the Malphite ultimate, and if he hits that on multiple people, you have the Wukong Nimbus strikes in, and he pops that Cyclone, and if he's had lots of armor pen stacked up, they were doing so much damage, and Tristana would just be hitting them, and you can fire Scatter the Weak through the whole AoE, and you can hit so many different people with that stun, and it's going to be so much AoE that they can bring to the table. And it's very, very smart here actually to ban that Orianna, because Orianna in this team composition would have spelled certain death for so many champions.
Yeah, that's they gave up a little bit of that Wombo combo, but they're still picking up some crazy bursts with that Unleashed power on Syndra. It's gonna be scary for anyone caught in that initial knockout from the Unstoppable Force, because if the team fights go down the way Day Wards wants it to, ideally they'll have someone set up that Unstoppable Force. And if the Unstoppable Force has to be the first thing up, then you'll surely see the Cyclone follow up after that. But ideally, if they can get the Scatter the Weak stun on multiple members, or maybe even Revax death sentencing in and placing that box, anything in that box is considered just dead from that point on.
Yeah, so very, very strong team competition. They have a good amount of pick with the Scatter the Weak and the death sentence, but on the other side, it's a lot of pick potential with the Chen taunt, the bubble, and the cocoon from Elise. So very, very good team comps on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. So hope you guys are excited. It's been a long day. It's been a long weekend. We've been casting just about like 12 games, or actually 10 games, since we lost out on 2 games on Friday, but 10 games over 3 days. We appreciate you guys for sticking with us. This is the final game of the Gold Competitive League Qualifier Tournament. We know who's going to be in the Gold Competitive League, and that's going to be starting up this week too. So this final game is going to be Day Wards versus... Wait, wow. Just totally blanked out. Day Wards versus Goons Incorporated. And you just saw Day Wards come out on top of that last game, and just to remind you guys, it's going to be Revax playing that Thresh. Leona will be playing Wukong in the jungle. Ron Quan will be playing Tristana as the marksman. Hill of Shovel will be playing Malphite up top. And Bright Nova will be playing Syndra in the mid lane.
And for Goons Incorporated, we have Rodopsin on Ziggs. We have Mashinke on Shen. We have a disconnected AD carry on Jinx. We have Shaka the Zulu on Elise. And we have Beyond the Fray on Nami in support. So I'm very excited to see how this plays out this game. Both teams are almost loaded in, and I can't wait to see how the game plays out.
Yeah, so we were contemplating if that Wukong was going jungle or laning or not. It looks like it is going to be the jungle Wukong, but Do you think that was the best move for Daywards? Do you think Malphite would have a better time up against Shen? I mean Shen's gonna out tank Wukong's damage, but there's a little bit more kill potential with Wukong in the lane. But since I don't know, Wukong doesn't offer much CC in ganks, but I don't know how well that's gonna fare for the ganks for other lanes though.
I haven't really seen much Wukong jungle before, but I do think that with the red buff, he does get that instant proc when he Nimbus strikes in. So he does get that slow from a Nimbus strike, and then at level 6, of course, his ganks become a lot scarier. Thing is that Elise is going to be able to gank at all stages of the game, and she's going to have very effective ganks at all stages of the game. And it's just going to be if Daywards can survive until Leona on Wukong can get level 6, and they can just stay even in their lanes, then Wukong is going to have a huge impact. Wukong does have a lot of early game damage from the jungle, so he could look for a level 2 gank or level 3 gank, so there's lots of options for either team, and they're just both teams playing safe, guarding their entrances to their jungle, and we haven't really seen any invades or any deep wards yet in the season, so I'm hoping to see some more of that when the season starts.
Right. So as you said, both teams doing a very spread defensive strategy, trying to give vision on all possible entrances to their side of the map, and not really doing anything risky. I mean, it is the last game of this league, and no team wants to lose after coming this far, so they're playing it safe here. Gonna start out pretty standard, but I've read somewhere that Wukong has one of the highest win rates in solo queue, and why do you believe that is? Is it just because no one expects the type of damage that he's putting out?
Well, Wukong doesn't play that often, so people don't really know maybe his damage potential, and also he has really good base stats, and he gets higher armor and magic resist per champion that's around. Also, Wukong is said to have the strongest level 2 in the entire game, and that's because of his Nimbus strike plus his crushing blow. Do so much damage, and they buff his attack speed, so a lot of champions people can all in at level 2. Some action going down the bot lane.
Oh wow, Rivax, nice flay level 1 onto this DC ADC over there. Gets him down to half health before the minions just barely got to the lane, and that's a great start for Daywards there for Ron Quan and Rivax, that duo combination there. And another nice flay, knocking both of them back, but a nice Aqua Prison to counteract that. It's going to provide a lot of relief for DC ADC down there.
Yeah, there's so much aggression early game from Thresh, and that's exactly why you take your Flay level 1 at Thresh, and I think you can attest to that. So much more pressure than the death sentence, because sure you hit the death sentence, but then what?
Right. I mean typically I like going death sentence first, but that's only because whenever I play Thresh, I'm planning to invade, and actually a nice death sentence, but the Flay just misses going the wrong way. If that would have landed, that probably would have been the first blood there, because Rivax did have that ignite ready to go there.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to invade, death sentence obviously is better because it does lock the person up for so long, but if you're not going to invade, starting in lane, the Flays offer so much. You can harass with the stacking damage that it gives you. Yeah. You can always land Flays and just harass with the actual Flay itself.
Right.
And it's such a strong tool because you can hit both of the enemies with that. But Elise is coming bottom, and the bubble does land.
Beautiful, and the hook does land. Are they going to go in? Actually, they realize it just too late. Oh, the flash cocoon, it is going to miss, but the rocket jump's going to get Ron Quan the safety. A repel is not going to be in range, but beautiful escape there. Sheikah the Zulu actually uses the flash, but wow, Leona on Wukong actually comes by just for safety measures there.
Yeah, that cocoon just missing there. I think it just skimmed by max range. So if that had hit, that would have been a certain kill for Goons Incorporated. So a little bit unfortunate there to just miss that skill. And that is a flash down for Elise. So look for Shaka Zulu to maybe make a play somewhere else. He knows that Elise flashes down, and she might not be able to react in time to some ganks or to a counter gank. So,
right. So, Wukong being one of the better duelists in the game, who do you think comes out on top between a jungling Wukong or a jungling Elise if they were to meet up in the jungle?
Well, I think it all has to depend on if Elise hits her cocoon or not. If Elise were to hit her cocoon, I think she would win the trade. But if she were to miss the cocoon, I think Wukong would probably win that trade.
Yeah, that's a good point. That stun is so vital. And just for getting kills, not to mention those 1v1s that stun is who doesn't want a stun in a 1v1, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Ben actually is really bullying out his Malphite. He's built a 15 CS lead already. So maybe the Malphite pick wasn't the strongest pickup against Shen. Zac actually does do fairly well against Shen, so I'm surprised to see him not go for that Zac like he has been so good on.
Right, and we did see Road Dobson actually go back and get the Null Mantle and a couple of Fairy Charms to start his way for his Chalice of Harmony. Meanwhile, Bright Nova is still using his starting items, the Doran's Ring, and but still, even despite Ziggs going back first, Ziggs does have a slight CS lead over him.
Well, Ziggs can just farm and shove waves so much, it's really hard to keep up early. But the gang going down bot lane.
Yep, the nice decoy going in. Oh, the Death Sentence just misses beyond the fray. And, yeah, Leona's going to be going back in their lane.
I think Ziggs Q, Bouncing Ball, has one of the highest base damages of any poking skill. So early game, it does so much damage. You can clear at level 2 of your Bouncing Bomb. You can clear a caster minion wave in 2 Bouncing Bombs. So, I mean, it's really strong. It does a lot of poke, and you can see how much damage Bright Nova's been taking from those Bouncing Bombs. Like, it does almost a quarter of her health each time he hits her with one. So, very strong skill, and it makes sense that Ziggs is bullying out Syndra because she is a short-range champion.
Oh, here comes Wukong, the nice little invis, the decoy jump, Nimbus strike, and they're gonna jump in. Can they get that last auto attack? Yes, first blood does go to Revex, and Beyond the Fray is forced to flash out of there, and a beautiful second attempt from Leona, just coming through lane after just trying to come through the river and failing.
Yeah, a very well-timed gank there, and a very well-placed Death Sentence to make that land, and unfortunate that disconnected ADC did fall down there, but a very well-played gank.
Yeah, we see Shaka the Zulu there just waiting nearby in case they do try to do something suspicious on Beyond the Fray in their tower range, but they're going to play a little bit more conservative than that.
It looks like Shaka the Zulu is waiting around for a gank, and it looks like she may wait till the minion wave gets pushed to her and then hop over the wave. But I do think she got spotted out by the creeps. Yeah, that's why they're backing off there. I think that she got spotted out and they're just going to back off and go by because Tristana is ahead of Jinx. She's got 10 CS up on her. But that might spell a dragon for Goons Incorporated, which they've been so good at grabbing whenever it's available.
Yeah, that's a BF sword for Tristana already 7 minutes in the game, but that's going to be a dragon, a pretty much uncontested dragon for Goons Incorporated, and beautifully timed too. They realized that everyone from bot lane has gone back. This is their opportunity. Shaka Zulu was waiting nearby as well, so you know why not do it? The dragon's right there.
Yeah, exactly. And very smart play. Good rotation from Rodoption. He didn't even end up missing up on too much CS because he had already previously shoved the wave into Bright Nova's turret, and his bouncing bombs can just clear the wave out so quickly. So he doesn't really surrender any lane presence either by going to do that dragon. So very well played. And he's only a creep behind, but he's already been back twice to base. So very strong showing from Goons Incorporated and from Day Wards as well.
Yeah, so very close game as we expected, and both teams making plays where they need to happen and playing very reactionally too. You know, seeing that they're backing up, and that's a very smart team play right there. It very rarely happens in solo queue or in normal games where teams are organized to teams have the understanding to recognize that, hey, bottom lane's gone, we're all here, let's just do dragon. That's solely based on these competitive teams playing together for so long.
Exactly, and that dragon is only getting Shen farther ahead of Malphite. I mean, he's got almost a 30 CS lead over Malphite, and everyone else is fairly even. I mean, Rodoption on Ziggs is falling a bit behind to Syndra. He's only 5 CS behind, but he's also been back to base twice, and he did go help out with that dragon. So, I mean, it is a little bit of expected that he's falling behind. Jinx is falling behind a little bit. She will be pretty caught up after this creep wave is gone, so she won't be too far behind. But the hook does land.
Oh, nice Death Sentence. Oh, just nearly knocks him out of that turret range, but yeah, for a second I thought the Flame Chompers were on Day Ward's side. I was like, wait a minute. That would have been a great setup, but yeah, just a little bit of a harass there, and Yeah, DC getting chipped down by Revax there. Revax, a big fan of that Dawn Shield start. A lot of times he's been using that start, and it's a huge compliment to this playstyle because of how aggressive he goes. And a nice Aqua Prison does land. DC does get knocked in the box and the flay, and that spells death right there. There's no getting out of that.
Yeah, that's just them bullying out of the bottom lane here for Goons Incorporated, and it's really going to come down to. I mean, Shen could have teleported, put a shield onto Jinx there, but he did not, and he's just been more focused on trading here with his Malphite. So, they have had a good team play, but also they're lacking a little bit on communication, possibly.
Right.
Because I think that the Stand United shield would have been enough to save DC there.
Yeah, and also, it seems Shaka the Zulu he was nearby both times that Jinx has died. It seems he's just one step behind in these baits or these fights, so does need to try and give his team a little bit more of a heads up or something like that, or I don't know, try and coordinate a little bit more effectively so they can get some of these counter ganks in. But here's the cocoon. It does land on the Bright Nova. A nice exploding bomb does go down. Scan of the Weak stops it. Here comes the teleport coming in from Malphite, though. Is he going to be able to trap him down? A nice unstoppable force. Even though he used the Stand United from up in the top lane, that wasn't enough to stop all the burst to come down.
Yeah, and that was just a great TP there by Malphite, and he was able to just get in there, and great counter gank also by Leona, being right where he needed to be at the perfect timing, and it's turned a certain death for Bright Nova into a double kill.
Yeah, that's beautifully coordinated play that they did right there, and oh, and the nice death sentence does land on the Beyond the Fray there. He does get flayed back, falling dangerously low. The Aqua Prison does not hit. She's gonna rocket jump behind him, and she's probably still got the reset available to flay backwards. But DC is now stuck in no man's land between a Thresh and a Tristana. He's gonna try and pick off this Thresh here, but does see that Leona's coming in with that Wukong. Will they be able to grab the death sentence? Just misses.
So very, very close trade there, bottom lane. They do end up picking up the kill, but Revox did get very low. Unfortunately, they weren't able to pick up more off that missed death sentence, but the problem is right now is that the only lane that's really winning for Goons Incorporated can't really do anything. He can't kill Malphite, and he didn't even stop him from teleporting, even though he has that Shadow Dash. So, I mean, where they're winning isn't really translating to the rest of their team right now, and they need to get it to translate. So, hopefully, we'll see Shen be able to stand United down for a dragon fight at some point. Because Malphite's teleport will come up later than Shen stand United. So,
definitely.
Hopefully, we'll see that.
So now it looks like Shaka the Zulu just stole away the blue buff, so that's going to be a significant takeaway from Bright Nova there. Even though he's got his own, it's about to expire soon. But still, depriving that blue buff away from Syndra, it's going to allow for Ziggs to get back and catch up a little bit in CS in the lane.
Yeah, Syndra is very strong with the blue buff because she can keep spamming out that Scatter of the Weak and really pick off a squishy champion like Ziggs there. So, very, very, very strong champion with blue buff, so it's good to deny her from it.
Yeah, and there's so much vision around the dragon coming out from Goons Incorporated right now, especially that pink right there. Oh no, actually Day Wards is pink, but yeah, there seems like they're planning for this dragon. The dragon's up right now, so a huge rotation coming in from Day Wards. They know what they want. They're pursuing it right now with that pink ward. They're going to protect that pink ward. That's the thing. If you're placing it out in the open with an objective in mind, it's pretty much raising the flag that you're going to be doing that objective as soon as it's up.
Yeah, and they're gathering around for it, but the problem is that there's so much AoE magic damage on the side of. Oh, the hook does land on Shaka Zulu, but a great repel.
Beautiful death sentence to set things up. A nice box trapping in Nami and Jinx right there. Shaka the Zulu is going to get the power unleashed onto him. DC ADC's got a world of hurt in front of him. Beyond the Fray gets the Stand United ult, but it's going to be short-lived. And actually, Malphite, I believe, ultied onto the Shen just in case that Nami were to survive.
Yeah, and just a great fight. Actually, the Ziggs ult did miss everything there as well. So, um, they weren't able to finish off anyone. They got Leona and they had Icon Quan very low at different points in the fight. But I believe that Revox actually blocked the Super Mega Death Rocket from TCADC as he death sentenced into Nami, and then put the box down. So he actually ended up saving Leona's life there. So I'm surprised to not hear the Titanic theme song playing at that point. But very great play at the Dragon fight, and they were able to pick up a huge advantage off that. Now they're almost 4K gold in the lead, and their team composition lets them. And it doesn't. They're kind of making up for the fact that Malphite is that far behind.
Yeah, and they're doing a wonderful job with these team fights. Just wonderful. I want to give some special shout out to Revax there, getting that box right in the perfect area, just right on the ramp into the blue buff, and it really immediately it hit Nami and Jinx. So that put him at a very panic mode, not to go in on any more aggression there, and just doing his job perfectly and zoning out the AD carry and keeping his AD carry alive and healthy.
Yeah, and they have so much zoning potential with the Scout of the Week, with the Cyclone, with the Unstoppable Force. Late game, the team fights are going to be very strong. It's going to be very hard for Goons Corporate to actually get on to Icon, Quan, and Tristana, because Tristana has such long range late game, and the gang coming on top lane, but Shen should be able to dash away from this no problem.
Oh yeah, there's the Shadow Dash just to leave all problems. But the Scatter of the Week does land on the Rhodopsin, but not going to fully engage on that just yet. Probably once one more Scatter of the Week goes down, he's going to go all in on that, because Scatter of the Week plus the Unleashed Power, and that's one dead Yordle.
Yeah, and another thing I'm noticing here is that DC ADC has actually felt that he's fallen so far behind. He's actually went and picked up that Avarice Blade.
Oh, wow.
So he's really trying to get back in the game. He's picked that up for the gold generation, of course. It gives you passive gold generation and, of course, gold when you kill. But that means his damage is going to be even weaker, and you can see that they're getting desperate now, and they're pushing the mid turret, and the only lane that's winning is Shen's lane, and he's not really having an impact on the rest of the team.
Right, so yeah, they're just forcing the issue, not even letting Jinx crawl back into this game and farming. They're going 4-man strong in the mid lane, forcing that Jinx to come back, but the Scatter of the Week does land. The shield actually does go on a flash play in the box, and all of these flashes coming in. The Cyclone's going to come in as well. Tidal Wave's a little bit too late. Meanwhile, Bright Nova catches out the Jinx. One more Q should do it. Oh, actually, the Ignite is more than enough. Shadow Dash does land on the Leona, and they're going to take him down. But there's so many low health bars. A triple kill coming out for Bright Nova. Here comes the teleport coming from Hill of a Shovel, and he does take down Shaka the Zulu, and that is an ace going in for Day Wards.
Yeah, great team fight there. Great pick onto Ziggs there by Revax, great flash play, and then great follow-up by Leona with the Cyclone. And that should be an inhibitor turret here. I mean, Ziggs does have a lot of AoE damage, but I don't think he'll be able to stop. Well, they'll be able to get the inhibitor turret, but they won't be able to get the inhibitor.
Oh, the stun.
So, very strong showing there, and they've built a huge lead now. It's almost 7,000 gold now at 18 minutes, and that's massive. That means that they can start pushing so many objectives. They can start sieging more turrets, and it's going to be really hard for Goons Corporate to come back from this.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And Day Wards are just playing at a high level right now. Bright Nova knows exactly what he can do with, at every point in the game. He knows if he can take someone down one-on-one or not. So he wasn't afraid to, even though he took a bunch of damage, he wasn't afraid to go head-on onto DC ADC, because he knew that he was so far behind. 0-4-0 now, just picked up the BF sword 20 minutes into the game. So he knows his potential. And then at the same time, Revex, understanding that, that window of opportunity, he had to go for it, and he made things happen with that flash play and into the box. So
yeah, Revax actually setting up a lot of plays here. He's been really on point with his death sentences and his flays, and he's been making plays happen. Like, that whole team fight was a result of him flashing in there and flaying Ziggs back. So he's really making the plays that supports make and don't really get recognition for. So I think it's fair just to recognize him for what he's been doing this game so far.
Oh, definitely. And I see a very, very similar playstyle in my own game when I'm playing Thresh, because a lot of times when you're the support, aggressive support, you have to be making the plays. You cannot play passively as like a champion with like a Leona or Thresh.